So for today, I'm going to start the show by sending a special shout out to my director, Yao. There's two things he does that I absolutely love. So every time when I'm about to start, he has a way of looping my montage that I absolutely love. I think he does that 3 times. I love that. And the fact that before I come on air live, he has this very nice things he says to me every time. You're looking beautiful. That's a beautiful smile. That's a beautiful dress. So yeah, this is a special shout out to you, Yao. I appreciate that a lot. Thank you so much. And you're welcome to E-Corner right here on the AM show. I'm Noella Karen Yali. It's been a topsy-turvy week for me. Very interesting as well. But yeah, I've loved my week. I hope you are too. We're wrapping up the week in a big way, in a good way. Well, that's personally. I'll share with you maybe later if I decide to. But yeah, you're welcome once again. I've got a good show for you. I've got an interview coming up about something that happened in relation to Black Sherif. He performed somewhere and got pelted with sachet water. Why? Well, we're going to get all that scoop right here on the show. Also, did you know that Kalsoum Senari has been appointed the new ambassador to Spain? Well, I've got that detail also coming up right here on E-Corner. I'm Noella Carinielli. All right, so you're welcome back. You're still logged on to E-Corner right here on the AM show. And of course, we're going to start with Kalsoum Senari, okay? If you do not know who she is, well, that's her. She's an actress, a veteran, fine actress. I mean, the first time I got to know about her was through a movie that I dread till date. It's a horror movie called Babina. I don't know if you if you remember that movie, but yeah, that movie caused me a lot of trauma that I don't even want to talk about. But that's how come I got to know about this beautiful woman. And, you know, she's gone on to feature in quite a number of other productions as well. And of course, just last week, we had the pleasant news that she was part of the 15 new appointment president made. And she got the ambassador to Spain position. And after the announcement, a lot of people were asking, but for an actress, what does she know in, diplomacy and international relations and all of that? Well, if you don't know, let me tell you. She actually enrolled herself in GIMPA and has a master's in international relations and diplomacy. Before that, she also did something at the same institution. I think she has a first degree in public service and governance from GIMPA as well. So to all you naysayers talking a lot of whatever about her appointment from obviously an uninformed point of view, well, now you know. She prepared herself very well for that, appointment. Well, she hasn't been vetted yet and approved, but we wish her all the best. In fact, I will be looking forward to her vetting. It would be refreshing to really see her being vetted, her interacting with, the appointments committee and all of that. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that. And obviously, I'd bring you scoops about that as well. Anyway, let's move away quickly and now talk about Black Sherif. Somewhere last week, he was in the news. I told you, I remember when I came here last Friday, I briefly touched on the fact that, he performed at a concert for students, and one of the fans, came on stage, was too energetic and ended up, hitting his mouth. I think he got his lips got busted or something. Well, that was from last week. This week, he's in the news again. This time around, we saw him perform again, we understand, at an event in Takrady, also another educational performance, I should say, organized by some event organizers called YB Entertainment. And from nowhere, we saw some of these music fanatics, throwing sachet water at him. People say, I've heard, especially on the internet, that was because he turned up late to the event, actually 10 hours late to the event. And so that infuriated the fans who were gathered. Obviously, eagerly anticipating his performance, and that warranted them to throw sachet water at him. But I want us to get all the facts, and of course we would get that from the horse's own mouth. I'm talking about the man behind the event that was organized. He invested, he pumped in money into that whole event that was put together by YB Entertainment. He calls himself Mutombo, or Richard Ofori, and he joins us live via Zoom to give us all the answers to the questions we have. You're welcome, Richard.
If you can... Thank you, Nuala.
Oh, great. I thought you couldn't hear me. So once again, you're welcome to eCorner. So like I introduced you, you are the guy or the man who pumped in money into this event. So I want to assume that you have all the facts. Now we saw, Black Sherif being pelted with sachet water. What event was it? Why was he being pelted with water?
Well, the event Unifest, organized by YB Entertainment, like you said before, is a university event that all the universities in Secondary Takrady were supposed to partake. That is University of Mines and Technology campus in Takrady. Takrady Technical University, the nursing trainings, the teacher trainings were all supposed to partake in this Unifest. Yeah.
Okay. So, I mean, obviously, Black Hole was billed to perform at this event. Before we talk about the performance on the night, I mean, how was he booked? What were the nuances around him being booked as well?
Well, he was booked by YB, but I was copied with a contract. So I have a copy of the contract with me.
Okay.
He was booked for 21st of June 2025. He was supposed to perform from the hours of 12 to 2, and he's supposed to perform for 2 hours. That is what was agreed on. Yeah.
And what times were agreed on? I mean, when was the event scheduled to start? What time was given him to come and start his performance?
Like I said, the time for the event actually was at 7 a.m. He was supposed to perform between the hours of 12 and 2. But we actually had some small issues, big issues, I should say. Their balance of XY amount was ready in eCash, and they refused to accept the eCash. However, they made me understand that they want their balance in cash. If not, they won't perform. So the hours of between 2 and 3, I had to raise an amount, in cash, an amount of 100,000, I should say, in cash, of which I already had the money, on my phone. And I pleaded with them. To accept the eCash. They said no. So they asked me to go back to the event center where the show was going, and call them when I have the 100,000 cash.
But what was stipulated in the contract? Was it stipulated in the contract that you were going to give him cash, or was it stipulated in the contract that you were going to? I mean, was it open to you giving him the money anyway, anyhow?
No, it was Ghana cedis. I mean, it was Ghana cedis. There was nothing like e-cash or fiscal cash or bank transfer.
However you are able to give him the money,
yes,
it was open.
Yes, it was open.
Okay. So if I understand what you mean, it is your inability to find cash for them made them stall their performance. Is that it?
Well, that wasn't just it. I mean, it got to a point where they were demanding for extra 50,000 cities before they allow Black Sherif mount to the stage, and this demand came from Aubrey Mensah. I
Who's who?
believe it's
Okay.
Aubrey Mensah.
Who's he to Blacko's team?
He's is it the road manager or manager? I mean, they I've been dealing with three people:
Okay.
Aubrey, Fred, and one other guy. He's sorry, forgotten his name,
Okay.
but one
And
other guy. Those are the three guys that I've been in communication with before
okay.
they got to Takrady, while they were in Takrady, and all.
And
But
what was their reason for demanding that 50,000, extra 50,000?
well, he all that he said about that extra 50,000 he demanded for is as compensation for not using the production that YB promised to give them.
Okay. What did?
You understand?
Okay.
And of which I myself communicated to the Blacko management the night before they came, that before the night before they got to Takrady, that because of some unforeseen, and
Circumstances.
yeah, circumstances that caught me on my blunt side, it just, I just got to know about it. And based on that, is either, they get back to me on other not going on with the show, or they allow me provide another production, equally good production.
Okay. And did
That
they
was the
get back
night
to you?
before. Sorry?
Did they get back to you? Did they agree? Was there an agreement?
Of course, that was the night before. They board on the flight somewhere around 4 p.m. the next day, Saturday, got to Takrady around 5:10. And when they got to Takrady, they came to inspect the stage, the sound, the lighting, everything. And they went back to their apartment. Nobody raised any concern around the hours of 5 to 7 or 5 to 8 or 5 to 9 about anything concerning production. You understand? Not at the time that you're supposed to mount the stage is when you're demanding for.
Oh, okay. Okay. So, I mean, you felt like there was some sort of like a foul play there on
There,
their
there,
on
there
their
was a
side.
lot of there was a lot of foul play on their part. I must say,
So
because
this 50,000 in question, did you pay it?
no, I didn't.
So how okay, so then how did he then perform?
I don't know. Well, the back and forth with give me this, give me that, you know, I got so frustrated at the point I told Aubrey Mensah in the face, I'm not going to pay any 50,000. If you like, perform. If you don't like, whatever you want to do. And I left. I left them, went to sit somewhere, I sat there for close to 20, 30 minutes before then I realized that there was so much noise. I came out to see what was going on. I realized Blacko had mounted the stage.
I see. So what then infuriated, we'll wrap it up on this. What infuriated the fans? Was some sort of information given to the fans, or what happened? Did you
Some
ask
some some of the fans actually were at the backstage and they could see what
what
was
was
going on.
going on?
Yes, a lot of them saw what was going on. It's not as though I spoke to anybody. I didn't speak to anybody about
So it's
anything.
not like you guys instigated the fans against him.
No, no, no. No, I mean they came to the event grounds, parked the what do you call it, the vehicle there, sat in the vehicle for over 2 hours. Meanwhile, just at the time they got to the event was when I handed the money to them. I handed the money over to them myself. You
Do you
understand?
mind sharing with us the total amount of money you paid him?
Sorry, I wouldn't want to disclose
That's
that.
okay. That's fine. But I mean, after the event, after the incident and all of that, did you reach out to him? Did they reach out to you?
No,
What
so
happened?
the irony of the whole thing is, you see, these guys refused to take the e cash. They refused to take the e cash and demanded fiscal cash. Eventually, after they counted the money, they said that it was short of 11,450 cedis, of which they accepted eCash for that shortage. You understand? So if you knew that you could accept that eCash from the very beginning,
Why
why
didn't you
didn't you
take it
accept
from
it? Why didn't you take it from the onset? You know, it was. I mean, I feel it was a deliberate act to drag the show. It was a deliberate. I don't know. At the point, I felt that these guys they just came to, frustrate
But I
me
mean, you're
especially.
right. This is going to be my last question to you. You're right, but it also doesn't make it right that fans were seen throwing water at him. So I'm asking on that, has there been some sort of communication? Have you guys reached out to the team? Have they shared their grievances with you as to what happened? What has been done, or there has been no communication between both
No,
of you?
no. From my side, no, there hasn't been any communication to the Blackwood team after they left Akradi.
Okay.
Yes, I would have to find out from YB if he has reached out to
To
them or
them
they
or
have
not?
reached out to him or not. Yes.
Okay. Motombo, thank you so much for speaking to us this morning and giving us some clarity on this very unfortunate news. I understand how, as an investor, this would look, this would make you feel. I mean, this is an industry where we always are asking for people to invest in our entertainment space, in our talent, and all of that. So I can absolutely understand how that makes you feel. For doing exactly what we're asking for and being met or being treated the way you have been treated. And so I'd keep my tabs on this story. If any update pops up, you know who to fall on. Is that okay?
Of
Thank
course,
you.
that's fine. Noella,
Thank you.
thank you.
You're
Thank you for
welcome.
having me.
You're welcome. So you heard from Richard Osei, also known as Mutombo Ofori. I beg your pardon, Richard Ofori, also known as Mutombo. He is an investor and a music promoter. He is the brain behind the event Black performed at in Takrade that saw a lot of, visibly angry fans pelt sachet water at a Blacko. Initially, we understood that it was because he had turned up 10 hours late to the event, but now we get the proper context of what actually happened. And I really don't have, much to say about this particular story. And so I'm wrapping up. I've got about a few, minutes to get out of the studio, but let's talk about Ananzo GH quickly before I go. If you don't know who he is, this was a young man, this is a young man who works at a washing bay, washes cars for a living, and creatively sings along to songs in a way of promoting them on TikTok or on social media. And he's been doing it for quite a while. If you go on his page, you'd realize that he's promoted quite a number of Ghanaian songs from Blacko to what have you. And, Davido released his 5th album, and one of the songs that features Omale, I've forgotten the title of the music, but yeah, With You. Yeah, that's the title of the song. And yeah, he sang along to the song and promoted it. I don't know, director, maybe we should give them a little bit of a teaser of how he did that. And then yeah.
I know I punish you, I want to punish you, if you see my baby, you go shut up, I'ma get too fine, no be make up, oh yeah, baby, like that, oh, finish work from you, oh, tomato.
Okay. So, I'm sorry, sweetie. Sorry for truncating that for you. But anyway, so that's Anazo GH. I mean, he did this so genuinely, I guess that's the word, that it touched the heart of Davido. And so he came and commented under this post, a director, if you can get that comment, and promised him 5,000 US dollars. So that's the comment. That's his first comment. It says 5K US for you. OLS contacts DKDMW. Obviously, maybe an individual who's part of the Davido team. But, we all thought that, yeah, Davido has promised him. And so obviously maybe a day or 2 or 3 days after the guy was going to get his money, he did it. This whole thing became very controversial. A lot of people, including one guy, I don't want to mention it. I don't want to really give that guy clout because I don't support whatever he does. But yeah, there were a lot of commentary over it. A lot of people saying, "No, Davido just promised the guy, no working, whatever." Well, finally, they gave him that amount of money. Obviously, not in dollars, which makes me a little bit sad because I feel like the cherry on top of all of this would be them actually handing over 5,000 US dollars, physical dollars, to him. I think that would have made him, go over the moon because I don't think he's ever held that amount of money in dollars. But anyway, they gave him the city equivalent, which would be, I think, a little bit over 50,000, almost close to 60,000 Ghana cedis. And that's the video you're watching on your screens. They picked him up in a luxurious vehicle, obviously Range Rover. I doubt he's ever sat in one before. I don't know that for sure. But this must have been a humbling, dream come true day for him. Met up with a team member from Davido's camp who then handed him the $5,000 city equivalent. And, he was all grateful, I guess. Let's take a listen to it a little bit, and then, yeah, I can say bye-bye to you.
I swear. That's how it is. So nothing much. On behalf of David, you know how everything be. So they said we should meet you, and your $5,000 should be delivered to you.
Finish work for me, oh tomato, put that thing back,
Guys, it is Eid. Forget everybody, 30 VG for a reason. Oh, until I die. Forget everybody, it's the bad.
Look, Anazo, I'm your biggest supporter in Ghana. Please remember me, okay? But yeah, I'm so happy for him. So excited for this young man. I hope he does something great with that money. But before we go, ADB marks their 60th anniversary with a new tagline, Beyond Banking, okay? So obviously you know that ADB is a Ghanaian-owned bank, and they've marked their 60th anniversary, and as part of that, they've changed their tagline to Beyond Banking. Obviously, you say, so yeah, ADB is Dane their homie. So the bank, which has operated for 6 decades, has supported Ghana's agricultural and agribusiness sector, and they have been phenomenal promoting that. And so, yeah, we congratulate them for hitting the 60th mark, or 60th, celebrating your 60th year in business. And we're excited about this new tagline. And yeah, kudos to all the team members at ADB. My name is Nuala Kariniali. This has been E-Corner right here on the AM show. Of course, we're back on your screens on Monday. Until then, enjoy the rest of our program. And my music.